What's going on, boxing fans? I'm back. Another video. Number 5 today. I'm not even done after this video. This one is a prediction for Joachim Alcine versus Alfredo Angulo. Matchup takes place on July 17th on HBO. Pretty much it was a match put together to sell more tickets for the Bradley Abregu fight. So anyway, it's actually overall it's a good fight for Alfredo Angulo because now he's facing a former champion, or excuse me, a former titleist and experienced fighter. And also for Joachim Alcine, in this fight, Alcine can possibly catapult himself back into the title picture. This is an eliminator, but also for a minor championship, some type of continental championship. So it's overall a very interesting fight, very intriguing to say the most for this fight, because this is the ultimate test for Angulo. You know, now you have a veteran, despite the fact that Alcine is about 33 years old. You do have a veteran who held a championship and been in the ring, and not necessarily been in the ring with some of the greatest fighters. You know, he fought Travis Sims and Daniel Santos, and was knocked out in the fight against Daniel Santos. But he did defeat Travis Sims. Travis Sims is a pretty good fighter. And also in this fight, something to look at is, one, Alfredo Angulo is a fighter that continues coming. You know, he continues coming, he continues the pressure, and he throws a lot of shots. But at the same time, we have seen a lot of flaws in Alfredo Angulo. And also for Alcine, the fight about 3 years ago against Daniel Santos, we did see him getting outboxed. And maybe it was the southpaw style that was possibly confusing. And Santos wasn't necessarily throwing a lot of punches. He's pretty much staying on the outside and just patiently throwing shots, putting his right jab out there, putting the southpaw jab out there, and then that left hand just came in right underneath Alcine's hands and just knocked him out. Just all of a sudden. So in a fight like this, there's something interesting about this fight to me is, you know, Alcine has only lost one fight, but he's been kind of on a comeback trail in the last couple years or so. Hasn't fought since December. Angulo's been busy, and the fact that Alcine hasn't fought since December, and now he has a fight now, you know, against Angulo. I think Angulo's going to be the fresher fighter out of the two, especially due to the age, the age differences as well. You know, Angulo's in his 20s, Alcine's in his 30s. So the months off, the layoff, for Alcine, is more of a advantage for Angulo but at the same time, the experience of Alcine is an advantage he has over Angulo. So in this particular fight, for Alcine to win, Alcine has to fight pretty much the same way that Joel Julio fought in the first few rounds, and the same way that Kermit Cintron fought Alfredo Angulo. Both fighters have pretty much made the blueprint of defeating Alfredo Angulo. And at the same time with Alfredo Angulo, there's very little change in his style. We've seen a little bit of improvement, but he's still kind of the same fighter. He comes in and he throws and slugs his punches out. Pretty much wants to bomb it out with you. And what I like about Alcine, I do like how he's patient. He's very patient, and I do think he can time his shots very well. And in this fight, he doesn't want to throw unnecessary shots. He wants to kind of stay outside. He wants to kind of use some angles, but he doesn't want to square up with Angulo. Because if he squares up with Angulo, that's when Angulo does his best work, when you square up with him. So in this fight, Alcine does not want to square up with Angulo. He wants to what he simply wants to do is he wants to box. He wants to use his legs a lot in this fight. I don't know if the legs are gone for him. Probably not. He's about 34. I don't know if the legs are gone or not. Maybe not. But he wants to use the legs. He wants to use movement. He wants to throw combinations, and when he throws those combinations, he wants to move along with those combinations. But he wants to use his movement to set up the combinations, and use the movement along with the jab to set everything up. So in this fight, Alcine has to fight very smart. He has to fight very smart. He has to be very technical. He has to be, he has to pretty much be on top of his game in this fight. And Alfredo Angulo in this fight, we saw against Daniel Santos. Daniel Santos was basically, he was outboxing him, and him outboxing was leading to the knockout. And Alcine has a tendency to kind of walk into his shots and lunge into his shots. But at the same time, when he goes back, the left hand is usually down, which is going to lead to opportunities for Alfredo Angulo. Alfredo Angulo throws a very heavy left jab, and I noticed in his recent fights that jab's getting a bit heavier. It's getting a little more stiff. So if he comes in and he throws the left jab and also follows up with that right hand, follows up with the right hand over the top, then he could actually, I think he could set up some big shots, some big power shots for Angulo. And also when you throw combinations at Alcine, he doesn't throw, he kind of stands and he shells up. So that could be a huge advantage and a huge opening for Alfredo Angulo in this fight. If he can get throw punches and get Alcine to kind of just shell up, so he can just continuously throw and continuously just rough him up. And also he does move towards the ropes quite a bit. So if he can move towards the ropes, if he could corner him and cut off the ring, then Alfredo Angulo could very well win this fight and just take this fight. When I think about this fight, sometimes I do think of the younger Alcine. I think that Alcine does have the ability, or had the ability, who knows, to give Alfredo Angulo some trouble in the opening of the fight. It's the same way that Joel Julio, in the same way that Kermit Cintron both did in their fights against Angulo. Fighters that stand in front of Alfredo Angulo and trade are the fighters that get knocked out early. So, and I think that being the veteran fighter, Alcine will more than likely fight the same way that Joel Julio and Kermit Cintron fought Angulo. I think he'll be fighting the same way in the opening of the fight. But eventually, that ring gets smaller, and when the ring gets smaller, there's more pressure on you as a fighter. And Alfredo Angulo is going to be applying pressure the whole entire fight. He's going to continuously come forward, and I think that he's gonna walk down Joachim Alcine. I think he's gonna walk him down, and he's gonna knock him out. And I think he's gonna knock him out in probably round 6, maybe, and possibly even earlier if this is if this is a shell of Alcine's former self. I think that Alfredo Angulo is gonna get the knockout. So anyway, Alfredo Angulo knockout by round 6. So anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.